Hi Year 2, welcome back to Wednesday's Learning for Maths. Today is the 29th of April 2020 and again we're going to look at reading picture graphs today. And we're going to be looking at picture graphs that are a little bit more complicated. Just like yesterday, you'll need the same things. You'll need your 2A workbook if you have it. You'll need your work from yesterday so we can do some marking, some blank paper, a pencil and a partner to talk to. So yesterday for question 1 in your workbook, 1A, there are 6 pupils queuing at the sandwich stall. B, the queue at the drinks stall is the longest. C, the queue at the hot dinners stall is the shortest. Question 2A, 7 children choose green as their favourite colour. B, red is the favourite colour. There should really be a capital letter at the start there. C, yellow is the least favourite colour. Again, there's a missing capital letter. D, 2 more children choose green than blue as their favourite colour. And E, 3 fewer children choose blue than red as their favourite colour. If you did the challenges, question 3A, the 3 children have 18 rubbers altogether. B, Elliot has the most rubbers. C, Lulu has the least number of rubbers. D, Elliot has 5 more rubbers than Lulu. E, Lulu has 1 less rubber than Ruby. F, Elliot has the same number of rubbers as Lulu and Ruby. That was a tricky one because you needed to spot that Elliot's number of rubbers, 9, was the same as Lulu's 5 plus Ruby's 4. So well done if you got that one. It was tricky. If you did question 4A, Amira has 2 textbooks and 6 exercise books. B, Amira has the most exercise books and the least number of reading books in her drawer. C, Amira has 2 more workbooks than files. D, Amira has 3 more workbooks than reading books. And E, Amira has as many textbooks as files. And if you did the tally chart challenge, there were 8 more gulls than blackbirds. So for today's learning, we're going to have a look at this picture graph first. This is one that Charles made after he went to the zoo and saw some animals. So we can see he saw some tigers, some giraffes, some elephants and some monkeys. And he has also done a tally chart to show those numbers. I'd like you to pause the video for a minute here and have a chat with your partner. See if you can figure out what the tally chart should look like for the monkey. I've left the box empty, but there should be some tally marks in there. Can you figure out what it should look like? Off you go. Well done if your tally charts look a little bit like this now. It's okay if your lines were diagonal, like here, or if they were vertical, going up and down. But you should have 6 tally marks. So a 5 plus a 1 to show 6 monkeys. Now, I'm looking at Charles's picture graph and I think it looks a bit tricky to draw. There's a lot of circles for those tigers. Have a look at this table of all of those numbers. So for the tiger, there were 10. For the giraffes, there were 4. For the elephants, there were 2. And for the monkeys, there were 6. Do you notice anything about all of those numbers? 10, 4, 2, and 6. Pause the video here and have a chat with your partner. See what you can spot about those numbers. Well done if you notice that all of those numbers are even, or they're all in the 2 times tables. That fact can help us, because to make the picture graph a little bit tidier and smaller, we can also use one circle to stand for 2 animals. One circle to represent 2 animals. Just like in phonics, a digraph has 2 letters that represent 1 sound, we can do the exact same here. So this picture graph here shows exactly that. Instead of 10 circles for the tigers, there are only 5. We can count in 2s to still see that there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 tigers. For the giraffe, because each of these represent 2, we can see that there are 2, 4 giraffes. For the elephants, there's just 1 circle, but that represents 2 animals. So there are 2 elephants. And for the monkeys, we can see that there are 2, 4, 6 monkeys, just like we saw over here in the table. It's really important if we're using circles or objects or pictures to represent more than one object. It's really important that we include a key to show that each circle represents 2 animals. Otherwise, people might not understand how many animals were really there. So, some of the children have been asking questions about Charles's new picture graph, where each circle stands for 2 animals. Charles asks, which of the 4 types of animals did I see the least? Lulu's answer is the elephants. Is Lulu correct? Pause here and have a chat with your partner. Well, there are 10 tigers, 4 giraffes, 2 elephants, and 6 monkeys. So Charles saw the fewest elephants, and Lulu is correct. How many elephants did Charles see? Elliot has had a look at the picture graph and he says 1. 1 elephant. Is Elliot correct? Pause the video and have a chat with your partner. Well, each circle stands for 2 animals, so there are 2 animals. Elliot said there was only 1 animal, so he is not correct. There is 1 circle, but that represents 2 elephants. How many animals did Charles see in the zoo? Amira says 22 animals. Pause the video and see if you and your partner can figure out if Amira is correct or not. There are 2 ways to figure out this question. Method 1 is you could count in 2s to add up all of the animals. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 plus 4 plus 2 plus 6 equals 22. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. The other method is to count all of the circles first. So 5 circles for the tigers, 2 for the giraffes, 1 for the elephants, and 3 for the monkeys. And because each circle represents 2 animals, you multiply that by 2. 11 circles, each represents 2, equals 22. Whichever method she used, Amira is correct. So now it's time for some guided practice. I've got a picture graph here showing a group of children's favourite colours. You can see from the key at the bottom that each circle represents 2 children. Even though the circle in the key is red, That's the same for all of the circles. Each one represents 2 children. I've given you 5 questions on the side here. Number 1, how many children chose yellow as their favourite colour? Number 2, only 4 children chose the colour blank, so you need to fill in the blank. Number 3, how many children are there altogether? Number 4, how many more children chose yellow than blue? And number 5, how do you think we could show 1 child? I'm interested to hear what your answers were for that. You'll really have to have a think. Pause the video here. This was guided practice, so work with your partner and it will probably take you 5 or 10 minutes. Here are some answers for the guided practice. Question 1. How many children chose yellow as their favourite colour? The answer is 8. There are 4 yellow circles. Each one represents 2 children. We can count in 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8. Or we could say 4 times 2 equals 8. Question 2. Only 4 children chose the colour blue. Even though yellow is the colour that has 4 circles, each circle represents 2 children, so the answer must be the colour blue. 2 times 2 equals 4, or we could count in 2s, 2, 4, and that gives us our answer. Question 3. How many children are there altogether? There are 26 children. Just like Amira's question that she answered before, we can either count in 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, or we can count up all of the circles, which gives us 13, and multiply 13 by 2, because each circle represents 2 children. Question 4, how many more children chose yellow than blue? The answer is 4. 8 children chose yellow, 4 children chose blue. 8 equals 4 plus 4, or 8 is 4 more than 4. And finally, question 5, how do you think we could show 1 child? I think the best way to show 1 child would be to show half of a circle, because 1 is half of 2. So we could draw a semicircle shape like this. Now it's time for some independent work. Today I would like you to use your workbook to answer the questions on page 237 and 238. Don't forget to look carefully at the key underneath each picture graph. Today, each picture represents 2 of something. And don't forget to include the date at the top. Today is the 29th of the 4th, 2020. For today's challenge, you can either continue on in your workbook and do some more picture graphs on page 239 and page 240, or you can have a look at this picture graph here, which shows how many ice creams were sold in a shop over a whole week. The first question is, prove it. This sentence here is either true or false. The most ice creams were sold on Sunday. You need to say if that's true or if it's false, and you need to prove it. Give us some evidence, some numbers from your answer that prove that that's true or not true. The second question asks, if the shopkeeper wanted to close the shop one day, what would be the best day to close and why? Don't forget, the shopkeeper wants to make as much money as possible and sell as many ice creams as possible. So which day would be the best day for them to close and why? Good luck!